All right, let's dive into this. We're looking at a rather unique individual. It's like someone took Wolverine, dipped him in a vat of red paint, and then decided to accessorize with whatever was lying around. This guy is jacked, muscles bulging, and his skin is a patchwork of red and dark brown. He's got claws, of course, 3 long, silver ones on each hand, but it's the rest of him that really catches your eye. He's got this crazy blonde hair sticking out, and a bird's perched right on top of his head, like it's found a new nest. He's got a mask with a bird's beak too. It makes him look like a bizarre hybrid creature. There are wires and tubes sticking out of his body, and odd trinkets like a bright pink hair dryer hanging from his waist and a rubber ducky stuck to his leg. And that background, it's this chaotic mix of vibrant city lights and swirling grey clouds. It's a strange and slightly unsettling scene, I'll tell you what. All right, let's check in with this guy. It seems we're getting a glimpse of his perspective now. In the first panel, we see a close-up of his skin. It's rough and mottled, with a dog tag hanging from his neck. He's reflecting, stating the world is a cesspool, and that he now has the power to speak his mind. Next panel shows a gloved hand tugging at a golden sleeve, while we are told the world needs a certain kind of hero, one who can fight and kill when necessary. Then, in the third, we see the hands with the silver claws and a black leather shoe with what looks like a flowery background. Then in the fourth, we see a panel of his hands tugging at a black jacket with gold stripes, describing a hero who can heal, specifically a Canadian. Lastly, we see a hand with a teal-colored glove sliding up the arm as the final statement declares the world needs a Wolverine. Looks like things are about to get interesting. Well now, things are getting busy. Here we see a full shot of a character sporting a full yellow and black Wolverine costume with some slightly different design choices. He's got a black jacket with an X on the arm, a yellow mask with black wing-like edges, and bright teal arm guards, and he is standing in what looks like a messy living room or storage room, with a bunch of other clothing items thrown about. He pops his claws out with a loud snick and says, "It's got one," implying that some plan is coming together. He also has a very distinctive set of boots. One of them is a black boot with pointy edges that go up, and the other one has a white, tooth-like detail near the top. And look there, lying on the ground between his feet, another full Wolverine costume discarded in a heap. Clearly, this isn't the first rodeo for our clawed friend. We're shifting gears now, heading to Las Vegas, Nevada. The top panel gives us a wide shot of the city at night, with a futuristic-looking ship sitting in the middle of it all, like a bizarre alien aircraft. Inside, a character asks why they are here, wondering if this has to do with the Wolverine costume they stole. As they make their way through the ship, a black wolf walks alongside them, and the character comments about having to deal with Daken, Sabretooth, and Deathstrike. Then we cut to our Wolverine look-alike sitting at a desk with a laptop. He types with his claws extended, the computer screen showing a search engine page that asks about Wolverine. One of the speech bubbles has a character saying, "You know, Pep," and another replies with an unintelligible sound, followed by a T-Kins sound effect. Then our Wolverine-ish friend closes the laptop, mutters him, and then opens it back up, noting that there are still more questions than answers. What exactly he's up to is anybody's guess, but it definitely seems like he's involved in something pretty elaborate. All right, time to head to Brooklyn, New York, specifically the law offices of Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk. The first panel shows She-Hulk at a desk, asking for the original of the Amaquelin affidavit. In the second panel, her assistant, dressed in a pink top, responds, and then another character asks if they can take lunch. She-Hulk agrees as she's writing at her desk, but stops mid-sentence and remarks, "That's pretty why." In the final panel, we see another character rush into the room, yelling, "Look out." Things seem to be getting tense at the law office. I'm sure we'll find out what's going on soon enough. Hold on tight, because things just got explosive. In the first panel, our Wolverine-esque figure bursts through a window, glass shattering around him. He's snarling, claws extended, looking ready to rumble. The next panel shows the aftermath, with our law office ladies looking on. The pink-clad character, now on the floor, seems to be coming to, while She-Hulk notes that it can't be Wolverine, as he is dead. The character on the floor makes a muffled noise as she tries to sit up. In the last panel, we see a close-up of the red-haired character who is seemingly trying to identify the new intruder, and concludes that this new Wolverine does not smell like the original, so this person cannot be him. The tension is definitely rising, and I'm waiting to see what happens next. Well, the chaos continues. In the first panel, the red-haired character, who apparently goes by Patsy Walker, calls out our window crasher, yelling, "That is Deadpool." We get a close-up of the character's claws and how they mirror Wolverine's. In the second panel, she goes on to say, "Guess again, Patsy Walker, or should I call you Hellcat?" As she leans against a filing cabinet, with Deadpool is shown at a strange angle with his head slightly turned. Then we have a close-up of Patsy leaning against the desk as she states, "If you want, I mean. It's not like it's a secret," or, as Deadpool continues, stating, "Well, watch out, Kitty, I'm the Wolverine," which he delivers in a dramatic pose. Lastly, we see all of the characters, with Patsy sitting down on a desk, as Deadpool points his claws toward She-Hulk and states, "And this cat has claws." What a strange turn of events. It appears Deadpool has adopted the persona of Wolverine. All right, things are escalating quickly. Deadpool, still in his Wolverine getup, is getting into it with the ladies. In the first panel, he's waving his claws around as She-Hulk demands, "What the hell is this, Wade?" And the assistant demands he pay for the window he just broke. He retorts that the Wolverine doesn't pay and that he makes other people pay. In the next panel, Deadpool is seen popping his claws out with a shick while stating, "Yes, I am. I spent a lot of money on all this stuff," and before She-Hulk interrupts, demanding he stop as she points out that a Wolverine is not a cat. Then, things get gruesome. Deadpool is seen stabbing himself in the chest with his claws, blood splattering everywhere, as he says, "Getting used to these things." And he does it again in the next panel, splattering his mask with blood and making an audible SBLTCH sound. The next panel shows a slightly damaged Deadpool, who has now put his claws away, and the assistant says, "Don't worry. Folks, the Wolverine can heal from even the most gruesome injury." The final panel shows a close-up of a downed Deadpool as Patsy asks, "Come on, Wade, what is this? Do you need legal help?" It appears that things aren't going so well for our would-be Wolverine. It seems our pretend Wolverine is sticking around. In the first panel, She-Hulk and Deadpool are facing off, with She-Hulk stating, "Probably. But that's not why I'm here," while Deadpool says that the first thing he looked up about Wolverine was that he got in a fight with the Hulk. Then, in the second panel, She-Hulk is telling Deadpool that she has a brief to write and he should go fight her cousin, Banner. He responds stating, "Banner, no way, that guy's tough as hell." The next panel shows a surprised Deadpool who says, "And what? I'm not." In the next panel, Deadpool is reaching for the sky as She-Hulk seems to be grabbing him and says, Whoa, hold on now." Finally, we see She-Hulk as she grabs his arm, stating, "You know, why not?" Then, a wider panel shows a series of buildings as Deadpool says, "Windows busted anyway." It appears that She-Hulk has decided to take on this new Wolverine impersonator. All right, it's time for the brawl. In the first panel, we see Deadpool being thrown through a brick wall, debris flying everywhere with a loud thwam sound. Then, a second panel shows us a wide shot of the Brooklyn Bridge, where a figure is falling off the edge. In the third panel, we are back on the ground, as Deadpool is seen crawling out of the rubble and says, "All right, lady, if you, an NGH, really want to tangle with someone." The next panel shows Deadpool, claws extended, with a determined look on his face as he says, "Why not try your luck against the Wolverine?" Then the last panel shows She-Hulk in close-up, looking up in a worried manner, stating, "Oh, Lord. It's definitely chaos all around, and it seems like the action is only just getting started." Okay, the fight is on. In the first panel, we have a close-up of Deadpool's claws as he yells, "I've got claws forged of diamond-hard adamantium and the power to back them up." In the next panel, She-Hulk calmly states, "Those aren't adamantium, they're stainless steel, I think. They won't even scratch me, Wade. while Deadpool says, "Well, even if they won't pierce your emerald hide, I can see how they fare against your shaggy friend." He continues, stating, "You don't have a Wendigo around here, do you? There's supposed to be a Wendigo." Then we see a panel where the narrator states, "A strange, uneasy silence settles over the scene. Then, the threat of the Wendigo is ended, or so it seems, and then the Hulk peers at her pint-sized companion in quiet confusion. She does not know what to say to the Wolverine now that the battle is done, and does not know how she should respond to this Sama little man." The last panel shows Deadpool leaping towards She-Hulk with claws outstretched, stating, "All right, Greenskin, it's your turn to take a thrashing," as She-Hulk yells, "Huck!" Things are heating up, and it seems like we are about to see a full-on confrontation between these two. All right, She-Hulk is not messing around. In the first panel, she tells Deadpool, "Wade, I know you have your issues, so I was willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. But Greenskin, that I did not like. You want to fight a Hulk, pal? Fine." In the second panel, we see Deadpool jumping over her as she slides across the ground, with the dialogue stating, "This Hulk is more than happy to smash," and Deadpool saying, "You'll have to catch me first, Miss Walters, and nobody is fast enough to do th." The third panel shows the aftermath of the fight, with She-Hulk standing victoriously over a defeated Deadpool, with the narrator stating, "She-Hulk was stronger, She-Hulk was smarter, and that is why She-Hulk won." It appears our wannabe Wolverine didn't stand a chance against the real deal. All right, we're off to Tokyo. In the first panel, we see Deadpool dressed in traditional Japanese clothing, approaching a man in a suit, stating, "Excuse me, good sir, might you be able to point me in the direction of some ninjas?" The man responds, "Why? Why do you want to find ninjas?" And Deadpool replies, "It's a trope, can you help? I've been looking everywhere." In the next panel, we see a close-up of Deadpool, who is now walking down a street as he says, The third panel shows another shot of Deadpool walking down the street with a sword on his back and an arrow sticking out of his head as he says, Then, in the fourth panel, we see Deadpool from a different angle, and in the fifth, we see a close-up of his face as he states, "Clever girl. Looks like he's getting closer to whatever goal he has in mind. It looks like word of the Wolverine impersonator has spread." The first panel is set in New York, at the Avengers Tower. We see a group of heroes, with the Wolverine look-alike exclaiming, "Hey, folks, no need," and another character responding with a flat no. Then we are at the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning, where we see a different Wolverine clone at a table with two other characters who are in shock from what they see. The character in the middle states, "To worry. You've got a," before the character next to him cuts him off with "Neen." Next, we are at the helicarrier, the SHIELD mobile headquarters, where a bunch of agents are looking at a computer screen. One character says, "Wolverine on the roster again," and another responds with, "Don't think so." Lastly, we are in Canada, at the Mason Alpha, and see two characters talking, with one apologizing and saying, sorry," to which the other replies, "Seriously?" It seems that the Wolverine sightings are causing confusion and concern throughout the world. We're seeing more of these Wolverines popping up. In the first panel, we see one of them sitting on a park bench, as another asks him, "Why?" The second panel shows the second Wolverine flipping out, saying, "WHH hi you do yow hate me." He is leaping over some rocks in the park. The third panel shows another Wolverine in a park at sunset, proclaiming, "I've got a theory," as he poses with his claws, with a thought bubble reading. And in the next two panels, we see yet another different-looking Wolverine, talking to a bald man in a camouflage outfit. The man says stealing is wrong, and the Wolverine responds with a close-up of his face as he asks, "And who the hell are you?" It's clear we have a widespread issue of Wolverine impersonators, and it appears that they are just as confused as we are. So, it appears the bald, camo-clad character is someone called the Dog Tagger. In the first panel, we see him pointing at a Wolverine clone and saying, "I'm the Dog Tagger." And those? Then in the second panel, we see a close-up of the Wolverine clone who responds, "Belong to me." The third panel shows the Dog Tagger stating, "Whatever, man, I bought these, paid for them fair and square," as the Wolverine clone looks off to the side. Then the fourth panel shows Dog Tagger exclaiming after they were stolen from me. And then I'm just supposed to take your word on that. Sorry, Chubbs. I'm doing something here, and these dog tags are part of it. The fifth panel shows the Wolverine clone asking, "How do you think I got all of these?" "I dunno, Etsy." To which the dog tagger replies, "No." Lastly, in the sixth panel, the dog tagger is seen pointing at the Wolverine clone and says, "They were gifts, every last one of them from Logan and a whole bunch of other soldiers. Good people, and you know what you have to do for a soldier to give you their dog tags. Well, nothing small, I'll tell you that. And the thing about warriors like that, if they think they owe you, then when you need them." And the panel cuts off saying, "When you call." Things are definitely getting more complex. Okay, the pieces are falling into place. In the first panel, we see a Wolverine clone saying they show up as Punisher approaches from behind with a machine gun, and Black Widow rides in on a motorcycle with Captain America not far behind. He then says, "This is perfect. Now if I were still overdrawn, I could take every last one of you. I think you all know that." In the second panel, we see a different Wolverine clone in a different outfit, stating, "And I'll freely admit that I don't seem to be quite as good at being Wolverine as I am at being Deadpool. So far." He continues, saying, "So maybe a little trial by fire is just what I need. Time for my Wolverines. Really commit." Then in the third panel, he is seen again with his claws extended, saying, "Bring it, bub. I'm the best there is at what I do, and what I do." The next panel shows a close-up of a different Wolverine clone with a speech bubble that says, "Come on, really." The next panel shows that same clone gritting his teeth and saying, "Come on." And the last panel has him striking a pose with his claws and saying, "Just give me a second here. I'm still getting used to these th." It appears the Wolverine clones are all about to clash in an all-out battle, and things are looking dire. The fighting is fierce, and it seems like our wannabe Wolverine is on the receiving end. The first panel shows the new Wolverine clone falling headfirst onto a wooden fence with a loud splooch sound. The second panel shows another angle of him falling with blood splattered everywhere, and the sound effect, SKWPLTs. Then the third panel shows a close-up of the clone as he says, "NNNNNGH." In the fourth panel, Punisher is seen talking to the dog tagger, with the dialogue saying Wolverine was on. "Every team. I'm just like him. Everyone needed him. Thought they'd need a replacement. Thought they'd need me. This was supposed to be my chance." Then dog tagger replies, "You obviously did your homework with this whole thing." The last panel shows a close-up of the battered clone as he says, "Why is it so hard?" And then, you know who Logan was, his history, so let me ask you. The battle is certainly taking its toll on the Wolverine clones, and it seems like they may be realizing the depth of what they've taken on. It seems we're back on Mystique's ship. The first panel has a character stating, "Why the hell did you think being Wolverine would be easy?" And "Hold up, Culpepper, any closer and Creed will smell us." Then we see another character and a black wolf in a hallway as she states, "I doubt it. I can certainly smell him, and I can't imagine he can detect anything through that funk." And she continues stating, "Why are we doing this, Phantomel?" I joke, but being here is extremely dangerous if any of them find us. And then, heh. Then another character responds by saying, "You remember Siphon?" And the reply is, "Of course, Barcelona, we almost died." The next panel shows the previous character striding down the hallway, stating, "But we didn't." And the final panel shows a character obscured by a golden cloth, stating, "We're alive because of one person we owe her, Culpepper." It seems like they are walking into danger, and that whatever mission they are on is more difficult than they expected. And here we are at the final panel. It shows two characters on what looks like the inside of the ship. One is holding a yellow Wolverine costume, and she says, "I thought this might be a good way to pay her back." We see a black wolf with a spiked collar standing next to her. It seems like our mysterious characters are making their moves, and it may involve a Wolverine costume. What this means and what will happen next is for us to find out in the next chapter. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay awesome, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing content.